Hey, yo, welcome back to Put 30 on the Clock. I'm Coach Phil, and as usual, let's get right to it. The question of the day is, how do you deal with a ball hog? This question has wrecked the minds of basketball players and coaches since the beginning of the game. And the first key to this, because I got the answers, right? The first key to this, in my opinion, is identifying the ball hog. Who's the one chucking up all the shots? Is it you? It could be you. Like you thought you was gonna escape this episode, didn't you? It might be you. Are you the one chucking up all the shots? Identify who's the one chucking up all the shots, right? And then after that, the question is, does that person have the green light to chuck up those shots? If the answer is yes, we'll go down that road in a moment. If the answer is no, that person is a ball hog. If you have someone chucking up shots without the green light to chuck up shots, that is a ball hog. How do you deal with that ball hog? You stop giving the ball hog the ball. Now, you might consider, well, why doesn't this person have the green light? Well, the most obvious answer is they can't make shots. So you normally have somebody who they might even have a nice setup. They might even have a nice little snatchback dribble. You know what I'm saying? The Chris Paul spin fadeaway. They might have a Shea Gilgeous-Alexander stop and go package. You know how his movement patterns are different than everybody else's. They might have the Anthony Edwards mid post game. They might have the simple KD get to the spot and shoot over him because you don't exist. But they miss. So you got a beautiful setup, but you keep missing. Coach is not going to give you the green light to just be pretty and brick. Like there's no such thing as a beautiful 0 for 15, right? So you don't have the green light. Now, why hasn't coach subbed this player out or reprimanded this player? That's for your coach. But right now, I'm helping you identify a ball hog. So I'm going to stay in my lane, right? You've identified the ball hog. Stop giving the ball hog the ball, right? Let them complain. Whatever comes from it, comes from it. Be ready for some fire. Hey, but stop giving them the ball. Now, if they do have the green light, it's probably because they make those shots, right? And if they do have the green light, and it is because they make the shots, maybe they're just a high volume shooter. And there's a difference between the two. The difference between the two is that one is actually making the shots and has the green light to take these shots. So if you're dealing with, I'll give you, let's say, Carmelo Anthony in his prime, if you're dealing with a Jason Tatum, if you're dealing with a Joel Embiid, if you have an Anthony Edwards, these are people in an NBA game that are probably going to take 20 shots over the course of the game. 20 shots for one player is a lot. But these are people who are clearly shot makers and have the green light from their coaches, their organizations, and really, for the most part, from their own teammates. So identifying the ball hog from the high volume shooter is very important because the high volume shooter is normally a high volume maker of shots, right? Like they usually make the shots that they take. So are they really hogging the ball if they're cashing out all the time? Are they really hogging the ball if this is part of the strategy to win games, right? Are they hogging the ball if coaches and organizations and teams and colleges, whatever level you're playing on, if they sought these players out to come get buckets for their team? It's like if people are calling them, they're sending them letters, they're hitting them on social media, they're hitting their emails, they're contacting their coaches to come here and get those buckets over here. Is that ball hogging? I don't think that is. I think that's a high volume scorer. So the difference between the two is one is good at it, right? The making of the shots part. They're good at it and they have the support and the green light of their organization. The other is just chucking up attempts, right? Now, there's something that comes with that, right? We're going to focus not so much on the ball hog, but on the high volume shooter slash scorer. What comes with that is the responsibility and the pressure of making the shots because now the keys have been given to this player. So there's an expectation with having those keys. You can't keep going 3 for 21. You could have a bad night here and there, but you can't keep having bad nights because sooner or later, those keys will be taken back. So it's not like something that's permanent. These keys are kind of rented, bro. And anybody can lose them. You're not guaranteed to keep it forever. You constantly have to, and this is another thing for another day, but you constantly have to prove yourself and you constantly have to show why these keys were given to you, why you're given this permission, why you have this green light. So nobody's above, you know, nobody's above the side eye where they're like, hey, bro, just it's a bit of a slump. It's lasting a little long there, buddy. So what we're gonna do while you work your way out of that slump is we're gonna start moving the ball, start getting it to start getting it to JoJo over there because JoJo's got that nice mid range from the corner. You know what I mean? And we're gonna start running some more motion, getting our guys in more action. You know what I'm saying? And until you know what I'm saying, until you get yourself out of that slump. Now, if you get yourself out of that slump, great. Then we can go back to giving you the ball 20 times a night. But if you don't get yourself out of that slump, we done prepared on how to move away from you getting 20 shots a night. So it's identifying, first of all, who is this person that's shooting the ball like that? And do they deserve to get it again? Right? But once you become that person, or once you identify that person, whoever that person is, you, somebody else, whatever, right? Once that person's identified, they now have the responsibility of being a shot maker because we didn't put our faith and our trust and a lot of us our jobs on the line so that we could watch you just chuck up shots. You've demonstrated to us that you can make them. You've demonstrated to us that you wanted this position, that you wanted this role. You got to take the pressure that comes with it. So if we lose a game, and here's the crazy thing about this, if we lose a game and let's say you are the high volume shooter slash scorer on our team, you ain't a ball hog, you're the high volume player, right? And we lose a game by 5 points. We could have had, now mind you, 5 points is not a lot. All right. That's a 3-pointer that they made and a layup that we missed. Okay, or however you want to put it. 5 points is not a lot. At most, it's 2 possessions. Over the course of a whole game, losing by 2 possessions is not a lot. If we lose by 5 points and we had, let's say, 7 bad defensive rotations that clearly led to a bucket, the person who's going to recognize that is most likely going to be your coach, maybe the assistant coaches, or whoever's doing video for the team. But the majority of the people around are going to blame you because you went 5 for 19. They're not going to see the bad rotations and the bad, defensive blunders. They're going to see that you went 5 for 19, and had you made 3 more shots, we would have won this game by 1 point. That's what comes with this. They're not going to see that there were 2, maybe 3 fouls too many, that your second best player, third best player, let's say your third best scorer, let's say that, your third best scorer fouled out in a rivalry game, heated rivalry game. They're not, maybe your coach might say that, but is your coach going to say, hey, we lost because our third best scorer fouled out in the third quarter? No. Is anybody outside the organization going to say that? No. They're going to say, you went 6 for 21 tonight. And we lost by 5 in a rivalry game. Our third best scorer had the mismatch. The game plan was for him. The game plan was for her because their third best defender can't guard our third best scorer. That was going to be where we got most of our money. And then once that person took so much attention away, we were going to come back to you, right? And you was going to go do your superstar thing and you was going to take us home. But because that wasn't there, they got a chance to lock in on you and not help off of you as much as they were supposed to because that third person fouled out. They're not going to say that. And even if they're not going to say that because they don't want to kill third players, they don't want to kill that third player's confidence, number one. And number two, they're going to be like, man, it shouldn't matter. You went 6 for 21. And if you made 3 more of them shots that you was throwing up, we would have won this game by 1 point. So you have to be ready for certain things that come off as unfair, because that's part of the responsibility of being a high volume shooter, a high volume scorer. Sometimes we lose for other reasons, and it's still your fault because you didn't put the ball in the hole that night. And then nobody cares about your feelings. Like you could be going through something. Like you have a lot. You're human too. But they don't really feel too much sympathy for you, because when you are 17 for 21, when you do go 12 for 15, you get all the credit for the win. We won by 5 because you was hot. We won by 5 because you was getting buckets. We won by 5 because you was doing your thing on an offensive end. In the same way, they don't recognize that the dude on your team that has 0 points took 4 charges tonight. They don't see him. They don't see that the backup big man, you know what I'm saying? Like, he ain't really get too many minutes. He had the night of his life. He had 12 rebounds tonight in 12 minutes, right? That nobody saw that. They saw that you went 12 for 15, so you got all the glory. So now they don't really show you much pity or sympathy when you go 6 for 21 and we lose by 5. They're like, damn, bro, if you'd have put up 3 more shots, you'd have made 3 more of them layups, we'd have had to win. God forbid you have a bad night at the free throw line. You could forget about it. You could be 18 for 21 from the field. If we lose by 3 points, and you was 2 for 8 from the free throw line, we lost because of you. It don't matter what else went on. How you 18 for 21, but you 2 for 8 from the free throw line? How'd that happen? Right? There's all kinds of scenarios I could come up with. The point is, the high volume scorer, that comes with a responsibility. And you'll come to find out real quick, most people don't want that smoke. They want the glory. They want to be on the gram. They want to post a highlight. They want people to know their name. Hey, I'm good at this. But when it comes time to take responsibility, even when it's really not your fault like that, most people don't want that smoke. And that's why a few people rise to the top as high volume shooters, high volume scorers, right? But that's how you pretty much identify the difference. Ball hogs don't want none of that. Ball hogs don't want none of that. So that's how you tell the difference between a ball hog and a high volume shooter / scorer. This is Coach Phil. Appreciate you spending this time. Like, share, and subscribe. Share this with somebody you know, because you know somebody that could use this. I appreciate you, but I'll holler at you next time.